The hidden dangers in your kitchen. Everyday foods that could harm your heart. After 60, as we age, the choices we make at the dining table carry more weight than ever before. For those over 60, every bite can either nourish or undermine the heart you've relied on for decades. You may think you're eating healthily, loading up on vegetables, cutting back on processed foods, and following the advice of countless health articles. But what if some of the foods you trust most, the ones you've been told are heart healthy, are quietly working against you? What if the vegetables and staples in your fridge are contributing to blood pressure spikes, dangerous medication interactions, or even silent inflammation that erodes your heart's strength? As a cardiologist who has spent over 30 years treating seniors, I've seen too many patients sabotage their health with foods they believed were safe. In this detailed exploration, I'll reveal 9 everyday foods, many of which are celebrated as healthy. That could be putting your heart at risk. More importantly, I'll show you how to avoid these dangers and protect the heart that's carried you this far. If you find this information valuable, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell to stay updated on health tips tailored for you. In the comments, let me know how this resonates. Type 1 if you're learning something new, or 0 if you'd like me to dive deeper into a specific area. Let's begin with a food that's often hailed as a nutritional superstar, but can pose serious risks for seniors on certain medications. 1. Kale, the superfood that could sabotage your medications. Kale has been crowned the king of greens, packed with vitamins, antioxidants, and fiber. It's the darling of smoothie recipes and salad bowls, celebrated for its ability to lower cholesterol and support heart health. For younger people, kale is often a fantastic choice. But for seniors, especially those on blood thinners like warfarin, kale can be a silent saboteur. I once treated a patient named Margaret, a 68-year-old retiree who prided herself on her healthy lifestyle. She walked daily, avoided processed foods, and blended kale smoothies every morning. But when she came to my clinic, she was pale, fatigued, and experiencing dizziness. Her blood tests revealed a dangerous issue. Her warfarin, prescribed to prevent strokes after a heart arrhythmia diagnosis, was barely working. The culprit? Kale's high vitamin K content. Vitamin K is essential for blood clotting, but it directly counteracts warfarin's blood-thinning effects. When you eat large or inconsistent amounts of kale, your medication's effectiveness can fluctuate wildly, leaving you vulnerable to blood clots or strokes. Margaret's smoothie habit, which she thought was protecting her heart, was quietly dismantling her treatment plan. The danger isn't just in smoothies. Kale salads, sautéed kale, or even kale chips can cause problems if consumed irregularly or in large quantities. The key is consistency. If you're on warfarin, sudden changes in vitamin K intake, whether from kale, spinach, or other leafy greens, can disrupt your body's delicate balance. Without warning signs, you might not realize the danger until a clot forms or a stroke strikes. Margaret's story had a happy ending. We adjusted her diet to include smaller, consistent portions of kale and monitored her blood levels closely. But not everyone is so fortunate. If you're on blood thinners, talk to your doctor before making kale a staple. The line between healthy and harmful is thinner than you think, especially after 60, when your body doesn't adapt as quickly as it once did. Chapter 2. Canned vegetables. The sodium trap you didn't see me coming. Canned vegetables seem like a convenient, heart-healthy choice. They're affordable, long-lasting and packed with nutrients. Whether it's green beans, corn or peas, they're often marketed as a wholesome alternative to fresh produce. But for seniors, canned vegetables can be a hidden sodium bomb that wreaks havoc on your heart. Take the case of Robert, a 74-year-old widower who came to my clinic with stubbornly high blood pressure despite taking his medications religiously. He had given up fast food, cut back on salty snacks, and thought he was eating cleanly by incorporating canned vegetables into his daily meals. But when we reviewed his diet, the problem was clear. A single serving of canned green beans contained nearly 800 milligauss of sodium, over half the American Heart Association's recommended daily limit of 1/500 milligauss for seniors. Sodium is a silent killer for aging hearts. It draws water into your bloodstream, increasing blood volume and forcing your heart to work harder. Over time, this leads to hypertension, arterial stiffness, and an increased risk of heart failure. For seniors whose kidneys are less efficient at filtering sodium and whose blood vessels are less elastic, even small amounts of excess salt can tip the scales toward disaster. The worst part, sodium's effects are insidious. You don't feel the damage as it happens. There's no pain, no warning light, just a slow erosion of your heart's strength. Robert was shocked to learn that his healthy canned vegetables were contributing to his condition. By switching to low sodium or fresh alternatives and flavouring his meals with herbs like thyme and rosemary, he saw his blood pressure stabilise within weeks. Check the labels on canned goods. Even those marked healthy or low fat can hide dangerous levels of sodium. Opt for fresh or frozen vegetables when possible, and if you must use canned, rinse them thoroughly to remove excess salt. Your heart deserves that extra effort. 3. Beets, the potassium powerhouse that could throw your heart off rhythm. Beets are often praised for their vibrant colour, earthy flavour, and heart-healthy nutrients like folate and manganese. They're a staple in salads and juices, touted for their ability to lower blood pressure. But for seniors on certain heart medications, beets can be a double-edged sword due to their high potassium content. I treated a patient named Susan, a 71-year-old grandmother who loved her daily beet juice. She was on a potassium-sparing diuretic to manage fluid retention from heart failure. When she started feeling weak and experiencing irregular heartbeats, she assumed it was just aging, but blood tests revealed dangerously high potassium levels, a condition called hyperkalemia, which can disrupt heart rhythm and, in severe cases, lead to cardiac arrest. Potassium is critical for heart function, but too much or too little can throw your heart's electrical system into chaos. Seniors on diuretics, ACE inhibitors, or other heart medications are especially vulnerable to these imbalances. Beets, along with other potassium-rich foods like bananas and avocados, can push your levels too high if you're not careful, especially if your kidneys aren't filtering efficiently. Susan's case was a wake-up call. We reduced her beet intake, monitored her potassium levels, and adjusted her medication. Within weeks, her heart rhythm stabilized and her energy returned. The lesson? Even superfoods require moderation and medical guidance. If you're on heart medications, discuss high potassium foods with your doctor and get regular blood tests to ensure your levels stay safe. 4. Raw celery, the crunchy culprit behind blood pressure. Spikes. Celery is often hailed as a low-calorie, heart-healthy snack. perfect for dipping or adding crunch to salads. Its high water content and fibre make it a go-to for weight management and digestion. But for seniors, especially those with sensitive digestive systems or hypertension, raw celery can pose unexpected risks. Celery contains compounds called psoralens, which can irritate the digestive tract in some people, particularly when eaten raw in large amounts. For seniors with slower digestion or conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, this can lead to bloating and gas, which may mimic heart-related symptoms like chest pressure. More concerning, celery is naturally high in sodium compared to other vegetables. A single stalk can contain up to 50 milliliters of sodium, which adds up quickly if you're eating multiple stalks as a snack. I recall a patient, James, a 69-year-old retiree who snacked on celery daily to manage his weight. He was also on blood pressure medication, but noticed his readings creeping up. His food journal revealed he was consuming 5 to 6 celery stalks a day, unknowingly adding significant sodium to his diet. Combined with his medication, the bloating from celery was putting pressure on his diaphragm, contributing to a sense of breathlessness that alarmed him. Cooking celery can reduce its psoralen content and make it easier to digest, but it doesn't eliminate the sodium. For seniors, the key is moderation. James cut back to 1 or 2 stalks a day, incorporated more low-sodium vegetables like zucchini, and saw his blood pressure stabilize. If you love celery's crunch, try pairing it with heart-friendly dips like hummus in small amounts, and always monitor how your body responds. 5. Mushrooms, the fungi that could fuel inflammation. Mushrooms are a favourite for their umami flavour and low-calorie profile, often used in stir-fries, soups, or as a meat substitute. They're rich in antioxidants and B vitamins, making them a darling of plant-based diets. But for some seniors, mushrooms, particularly when eaten raw or undercooked, can trigger inflammation that strains the heart. Mushrooms contain a compound called chitin, a type of fibre that's difficult for aging digestive systems to break down. This can lead to bloating, gas and discomfort, which, as we've seen with other foods, can mimic cardiac symptoms. More concerning, certain mushrooms like cremini or portobello can trigger inflammatory responses in sensitive individuals, particularly those with autoimmune conditions or chronic inflammation. This low-grade inflammation can stress blood vessels, increasing the risk of plaque buildup and heart strain. I treated a patient named Linda, a 76-year-old artist who loved adding raw mushrooms to her salads. She came to me with fatigue and chest tightness, which she feared was a heart issue. After ruling out cardiac events, we traced her symptoms to her daily mushroom intake, which was inflaming her already sensitive system. By switching to cooked mushrooms in smaller portions and incorporating anti-inflammatory vegetables like sweet potatoes, her symptoms eased significantly. If you enjoy mushrooms, cook them thoroughly to break down chitin and reduce potential inflammation. Limit portion sizes, and if you have autoimmune issues or heart disease, discuss mushrooms with your doctor to ensure they're safe for you. Raw bell peppers, the colourful veggie that could stress your heart. Bell peppers, red, yellow or green, are a vibrant addition to salads, stir-fries and snacks. They're rich in vitamin C and antioxidants, often praised for their heart protective qualities. But for seniors, particularly those with digestive sensitivities or heart conditions, raw bell peppers can pose risks due to their high fibre content and nightshade compounds. Like eggplant, bell peppers belong to the nightshade family and contain solanine, which can trigger inflammation in sensitive individuals. For seniors with arthritis or vascular inflammation, this can exacerbate joint pain and arterial stress, putting extra strain on the heart. Additionally, the tough, fibrous skin of raw bell peppers can be hard to digest, leading to bloating and gas that may press on the diaphragm and mimic heart-related discomfort. I once treated a patient, Henry, a 70-year-old golfer who loved raw bell peppers in his daily salads. He started experiencing chest discomfort and irregular heartbeats, which he feared were signs of a heart attack. After a thorough evaluation, we found that the bloating from raw peppers was irritating his vagus nerve, disrupting his heart rhythm. By switching to roasted or cooked peppers, which are easier to digest and lower in solanine, Henry's symptoms disappeared. If you love bell peppers, opt for cooked versions to reduce their inflammatory potential and ease digestion. Monitor your symptoms, and if you notice discomfort after eating them, talk to your doctor about possible sensitivities. 7. Sauerkraut, the fermented food that could overload your heart. Fermented foods like sauerkraut are celebrated for their gut health benefits, packed with probiotics and fibre. For seniors looking to improve digestion, sauerkraut seems like a smart choice. But its high sodium content and potential to disrupt digestion can make it a risky addition for those with heart conditions. A single half-cup serving of sauerkraut can contain over 900 milliliters of sodium, nearly 2/3 of the daily recommended limit for seniors. This sodium load can spike blood pressure and strain the heart, especially in those with hypertension or heart failure. Additionally, the fermentation process can produce histamines, which may trigger inflammation or allergic-like reactions in sensitive individuals, further stressing the cardiovascular system. I treated a patient named Clara, a 73-year-old who added sauerkraut to her meals daily, thinking it would aid digestion. Instead, she experienced bloating, chest tightness, and elevated blood pressure. By reducing her sauerkraut intake and switching to low-sodium probiotic sources like plain yogurt, her symptoms improved and her heart was under less strain. If you enjoy fermented foods, choose low-sodium versions and consume them in moderation. Pair them with heart-friendly foods like cooked greens to balance their effects, and always check with your doctor if you're managing heart conditions. 8. Raw carrots. The crunchy snack that could strain your digestion, carrots are a go-to snack for their crunch, sweetness, and beta-carotene content. They're low in calories and high in fibre, making them a favourite for weight management and eye health. But for seniors, eating raw carrots in large amounts can strain digestion and indirectly affect the heart. Raw carrots are high in insoluble fibre, which can be tough on aging digestive systems. This can lead to bloating, gas, and pressure that may mimic heart-related symptoms, especially in those with sensitive stomachs or conditions like diverticulitis. For seniors with heart conditions, this digestive stress can exacerbate symptoms like palpitations or breathlessness by irritating the vagus nerve. I recall a patient, Thomas, a 67-year-old who snacked on raw carrots daily to control his weight. He started experiencing chest discomfort and irregular heartbeats, which he feared were cardiac issues. After reviewing his diet, we found that the carrots were causing significant bloating, which was affecting his heart rhythm. By switching to steamed carrots, which are easier to digest, his symptoms resolved. If you love carrots, try cooking them to soften their fibre and reduce digestive strain. Pair them with heart-healthy fats like olive oil to enhance nutrient absorption and monitor how your body responds. 9. Tomatoes. The nightshade that could ignite inflammation. Tomatoes are a dietary staple found in sauces, salads and soups. They're rich in lycopene, an antioxidant linked to heart health. But as a nightshade vegetable, tomatoes contain solanine, which can trigger inflammation in sensitive seniors, particularly those with arthritis or vascular issues. This inflammation can stress blood vessels, increase plaque buildup and strain the heart over time. I treated a patient named Diane, a 75-year-old who loved fresh tomatoes in her daily salads. She started noticing joint pain, fatigue, and occasional chest tightness. After ruling out other causes, we identified her tomato consumption as a potential trigger for low-grade inflammation, which was exacerbating her vascular issues. By reducing raw tomatoes and incorporating cooked versions, which have lower solanine levels, her symptoms improved. If you enjoy tomatoes, opt for cooked forms like sauces or stews to reduce their inflammatory potential. Monitor for signs of sensitivity, such as joint pain or fatigue, and discuss with your doctor if you have heart or inflammatory conditions. Empowering your heart. What to eat instead. After exploring these 9 foods, from kale to tomatoes, you may wonder what's safe for your aging heart. The good news is that you don't have to fear food. The key is to choose heart-friendly options that complement your medications and support your body's changing needs. Here are a few tips. Opt for cooked vegetables. Cooking reduces tough fibres, neutralizes harmful compounds, and makes nutrients more accessible. Try steamed zucchini, roasted sweet potatoes, or sautéed spinach in consistent portions. Choose low-sodium options. Fresh or frozen vegetables are better than canned. If using canned, rinse thoroughly to remove excess sodium. Balance potassium. Work with your doctor to monitor potassium levels, especially if you're on diuretics or other heart medications. Safe choices include cooked carrots or green beans in moderation. Embrace heart-healthy flavours. Use herbs like basil, thyme, and rosemary to add flavour without sodium or inflammatory compounds. Monitor and communicate. Track how your body responds to new foods and discuss changes with your doctor, especially if you're on medications. Your heart has carried you through decades of life, and it deserves care that evolves with you. By understanding the hidden risks in everyday foods and making informed choices, you can protect your heart and live with vitality. Share one thing you've learned from this in the comments below. Type 1 if you found this helpful, or 0 if you'd like more clarity. Let's keep the conversation going to support each other in living stronger, longer, and healthier.